Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Nice break. So our next speakers are from Adaptavist, and they're going to tell us about their journey of bringing, one of the most successful add-ons to the cloud, so ScriptRunner. So please welcome Adam Markham and John Mort on stage. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicola. So we're here today as Nicola said, to talk about taking ScriptRunner and turning it into a cloud add-on. So our journey from the server to the cloud. So Adam's here with me. Adam's the lead on ScriptRunner for Bitbucket server.
I'm here with John today, who's the lead on the ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud and the other cloud products at Adaptavist. So let's get started. That's enough of us. So during this talk, we'll be going through the development timeline in taking ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud to the marketplace. Along the way, we'll be highlighting the key parts of our journey and lessons we learned along the way, which will hopefully help you taking your add-ons to the cloud and back again. So what is ScriptRunner, if people don't know?
So a little bit of background. So ScriptRunner essentially allows you to write plugins without writing a plugin using Groovy. Is the essential thing. So we just give you a little bit of background about the features in it, just so we're all on the same page. We know what we're talking about. Okay. So ScriptRunner allows you to automate and extend almost any plugin point you can inside of any of the supported applications. So that's Jira, Bitbucket, and Confluence. So to enhance workflows around Bitbucket pull requests, Jira post functions, workflows, conditions and validators. You've got dynamic content, that's the custom fields. And script macros, event handlers, so if there's an event that can be fired in any of the applications, you can run some code after that. You've got scheduled tasks, so you basically got cron inside of any of the Atlassian applications. You can add missing REST endpoints or enhance the searching abilities with JQL functions and also enhancing with Confluence with CQL and then sort of updating the UI, making it adding web panels and sections and items and things like that with that as well.
So in terms of ScriptRunner for Jira on the server, we have JQL functions, we have bundled JQL functions, or you can even write your own. You have built-in scripts like copy project that admins can use. You have workflow, conditions, validators, post functions, or you can write your own. You have scripted macros, bundled macros, for example, include a version in a page, built-in scripts like copy space, similar to Jira, content management, add a comment to outdated pages, for example. We also have ScriptRunner for Bitbucket. So you have like merge checks, you have hooks to enforce naming conventions across your branches and tags, for example. You have common administrative tasks like Mirror to Bitbucket Cloud or GitHub.
All right, so enough of the sales pitch. So what we're going to talk about is trying to take all the things from ScriptRunner server to the cloud. Basically, give us some kind of idea about whether that was possible or not.
So where did this begin? It all started with a ship it in August 2015 in a town called Leamington Spa in England. So what was at this ship it, John?
Yeah, so Jamie Eklund, author of the original ScriptRunner for Jira Server, put together a team to kind of take it to the cloud. Knocked together a prototype, and that won our ship it competition. So where do we go first? We say it supports Bitbucket, Confluence, and Jira, but at the time when it's done. Confluence didn't exist. The ScriptRunner for Confluence didn't exist. ScriptRunner for Bitbucket had only just been released. So Jira was the obvious first choice, and it was the one. The application we know most about. So we needed to bring it to cloud, and there were quite a few challenges.
So what was this result of this ship it, you might ask? So we actually shipped the core functionality of ScriptRunner for Jira Cloud. It was essentially just a prototype, a proof of concept at the time. We shipped scripted workflow post functions, script console, there's a hacky JKL function workaround. In a nutshell, it was remote code exploitation, allowing users to run any code on our servers. If we take a deeper dive into the tech stack we used, at the time there were two choices. There was Play and there's Atlassian Connect Express. We didn't use either. One, because Play had bugs at the time. Atlassian Connect Express hooked us into a framework. We wanted to be free to what we wanted to do on the cloud. We chose to do it our own way, using Ratpack. Groovy is written by users. Ratpack has a nice DSL for Groovy. It was much simpler to use. ScriptRunner is not like anything else either, or is it?
So you might be asking, what is Ratpack? So Ratpack is a set of Java libraries for building modern HTTP applications. It provides just enough for writing practical high-performance apps. It's built on Java 8, Netty, and reactive principles. So that's the marketing spiel from the Ratpack website. And it's basically a framework which is very similar to Vertex or Node.js, and it's event-based for processing. And that means it's asynchronous, which is a really good fit for writing cloud add-ons because it's the Connect framework is inherently asynchronous. It's also on the JVM, so it's got good Groovy support. Groovy is the scripting language used for ScriptRunner. We know it well. And we have a lot of expertise in Java on the JVM. So it's kind of a key element there is that we didn't want to kind of throw everything out and go for a brand new tech stack. Another big advantage of Ratpack is that it's really lightweight. It deploys as a single jar, and it's super fast. It also has got really good hot reloading support. So you make a change, and that change is pretty much immediately shown up. So what does this actually look like? Let's show some code. This is the advanced track. So let's have a look at a bit of code. So this is the kind of hello world in Ratpack. We have a little bit of configuration, which that's our public address. We've got a juice dependency being injected, and then we've got hello world, along with some path extraction. So as I said, it's got good Groovy support. So this is the same thing in the Groovy DSL. It's just kind of simpler, less code. It's kind of nice.
So great. We had a proof of concept at Ship It. In January, we'd done the initial version. We wanted to get a prototype ready for Summit in November to get feedback on it at an early stage from customers, Atlassians, anyone we could think of, really, that had ideas. We quickly realized this was a port and not a fork. There was a lot of code we couldn't reuse between server and the cloud, essentially because customers write their own scripts, which is different on the Connect to server.
So when we were looking at features, it ended up kind of falling into three buckets. There was those features that we could just straight up re-implement. There were those that we had to rethink, kind of come up with different ways to do it, and those that, like right now, we just can't do. Those we can't ship. So in cloud, some of the extension points just don't exist. So we can't do anything synchronously. But there are other concepts which map pretty well. So workflow post functions that map pretty well. The script console maps well, and the scripted listeners that maps well. So there's very few differences in the underlying features there.
There's another category of feature which you have to rethink. As John said, maybe there's no extension point for what you want to do, so you have to rethink what you do on the server in the cloud. The key thing here is there's a base need that the customer has, and we need to implement something that meets that base need. It doesn't matter really which way you do it, as long as you do it for the customer. For example, we had calculated custom field, where the base need was to update a field based on other values in that issue. So we replaced the custom field with a webhook-based update. Similarly, JQL extensions. Initially, we thought we couldn't do it, but using aliases and filters, we were able to reach a similar level of functionality after being more familiar with cloud framework, we were able to do it.
So the final category, this can't do category. This is the one we just didn't, we wish it didn't exist, but it does. So there are a few things where extension point is completely missing and there's no workaround or rethink that we can do. So anything involving synchronous workflow interaction at the moment, we can't do. There's no conditions or validators. And also anything that requires interacting directly with the DOM, we can't do. So that's behaviors out. We can't. We can't interact with the Jira issue editor or the create screen.
So we got into this development cycle where we were running into limitations and frustrations. As we learnt more about cloud development in general, we're able to overcome these and categorize the features into these 3 different buckets. Work around or fix, or just be comfortable that we couldn't do it.
So, I mean, as we heard in the previous talk, actually, we're constantly running into this world where we might be doing DevOps. We kind of hacking for a few months, and then we get to the point where we've got a continuous delivery pipeline. So we're deploying to AWS, check, DevOps, continuous delivery, check, that's DevOps, and a whole load of automated tests. DevOps, great. So suddenly we're in this realization, and we're shipping often. Even back when we're early on in development, which we were able to ship multiple times a day, and we've got multiple environments which we're shipping things to. As we kind of alluded to before, we don't share any code anymore between server and cloud. So what we've effectively done is a clean room implementation, and this has actually allowed us to run faster and break things, certainly along the early side of when we were developing it.
So the next part in our journey was Connect Week in February. The idea we had was just to basically get in the ear of Atlassian developers and try and find out their ideas behind how we could implement some of these features, and how to achieve feature parity with the server version of ScriptRunner. During this time, we also had a spike at HipChat implementation. We also did Confluence, which perpetually is coming soon. The idea here, the key point, is just we wanted it to work with Atlassian to kind of work out how to deliver features that are on the server and how to do this in the Connect world. The next part was May, AtlasCamp, which we're all at now. So we wanted to ship at AtlasCamp, but we weren't able to. It was basically, there's a couple of things, many distractions. There was 3 things we really valued, and it was features, time, and quality. We just needed the feature set, and there was a ship it. So John, do you want to say something about that?
Yes. Last year it was Mark McCourt did a great job of presenting, but we worked right up to the deadline to get that all ready, and that was kind of conference-driven development. It's not great.
So we realized that now we're a SaaS provider. It's not just a jar file anymore. There's many more things to think about. Equally, there's fewer versions to worry about. On the server, you have to test against different versions of Jira. You have to update your plugin to be compatible with the different versions of Jira. In the cloud, there's one version to rule them all. You also have more control. Customers upgrade when you want and using whatever technology you like. You don't have to work with SOI templates or OSGI, which we've all come to love over the years.
So you need to remember that customers are relying on your service now for their critical business operations. So uptime is important, and it's important to understand what downtime is going to affect your customers. So maintenance windows are going to affect someone somewhere. Another really important thing to be thinking about is scaling. So the load that we have can be quite spiky. We run at around about 30 requests a second for most of the time, but sometimes that spikes to hundreds things, and we need to be able to scale elastically and keep that uptime. Another thing that's really important that we found a really important thing to go looking at is coping with like third-party outages. So we rely on a couple of third-party services, and if one of those goes down, we need kind of a fallback and a kind of a degraded running thing, so things just don't go down. And in that, it's also important to remember that Jira Cloud has these daily maintenance windows. So this isn't just a chance that things might go down. This is things will not be available every single day. So it's likely that the Jira Cloud will not be available for each instance for about 5 minutes of each day. So you've got to learn your operations. So we're there with our zero downtime deployments. The customers shouldn't notice when you deploy. You get good monitoring. So logs must be centralized. That was I think one piece of real piece of advice. Centralize your logs. Don't have to go logging into a server to get your logs. Metrics, make those useful. Measure lots of things, but make sure you're measuring the right things. And make some beautiful dashboards, because they're nice to be proud of and show up. Alerting is the thing we find most difficult in this kind of operation side of things. Choosing what to alert on is actually really hard. And so we need to iterate constantly on what wakes you up at night.
So after AtlasCamp, in June, there was a team put together, 4 developers. The problem was that we're all developers. That got us to the launch in September. So a few months later, we launched in September. So we have this rocket, and it looks like a pretty successful takeoff, but I'm no expert, John. How was it?
So when we just after launch, it was the most stressful time. It was awful. I've got all these thoughts going through my head, like, were people going to use it? Would it hold up to the load? Is all this effort we put in actually going to pay off? And we've also got real customers now, and real customers need supporting. We need to kind of hold up for them. And they come with good ideas and floods of them. But they also come with invalid expectations. So they don't understand that we're building on Connect, which is not P2, and they go, I want this feature, or why is JQL missing? Why can't I do behaviors? And I think so. It's kind of important to manage those expectations and get the messaging right with that as well. So we learned a lot through launch. One thing that came with a little bit of a shock, it was the evaluation. So I expected 30 days, and we start having some conversions, and that's not the case, because 30 days is the minimum evaluation time, because the evaluations sync up with their Jira billing cycle. We also wanted to have some promotions, so we knew when we launched there were missing features. We wanted to make sure that people didn't feel shortchanged, but we can't have promotions. But reporting in Marketplace is a lot better. We get conversion rates, we get churn and things, and customer feedback, as I said previously, was really valuable, and it changed our priorities and really showed us that the JQL features are really important to people.
In December, we experienced our first outage. It felt quite bad at the time. You simply don't get this on server. Jars just don't stop working. What the problem was we were relying on DynamoDB to store our user data within ScriptRunner. You won't get this in the server unless you have a terrible bug. We also realized logs are important. It's a lifeline in diagnosing what went wrong with many different systems. Commonly used many different systems if you're developing the cloud, for example, AWS. We also iterated a lot in operations. We set up alerting, and we knew it needed improving. And we increased the tolerance to failure. At some point in the cloud world, you need to code for this sort of failure.
All right, so let's have a bit of a deep dive in the JQL support. So this was a feature we didn't launch with, and we found out pretty swiftly that customers really, really wanted this. So let's kind of have a look at the feature in depth. So the feature is this issue function. So if you ever use ScriptRunner, you probably use issue function in there. And we've got, so there's 3 examples here. The first one will find all issues that have got 3 comments. Second one, all of the issues which are commented by me. And the third one will find all the issues which are linked, which have got links in the project of foo. So this is the JQL support. So there is no JQL function support in cloud. So we have to think of different ways of implementing it, and we can use the aliases.
So in the cloud, this is what enhanced JQL looks like. you have some property, for example, number of comments equals to 3, commented by John again, and you have this bottom one, issue function in linked issues of project equals foo. So this will get all the linked issues in project foo. We can't do this yet, but we're working on it, and now it's become a rethink feature.
So the jQL alias is launched. So this is the feature, is the jQL alias is launched, which is Adam just looked through. So we needed to get this right. You know, this is something that if we would lose a lot of reputation because there's a lot of sleepless nights, you know, things if we didn't get this right. So we very nearly launched it. We very nearly launched it in December, and then we found a problem and we pulled it. So we're almost there. When we were looking at launching, we were thinking about making sure that we got we had enough capacity, you know, and we had to do that with calculations and with testing, and you know, to make sure that what we thought was going to be the scale there we could do, and we could monitor the different aspects of it that we need to make sure that we know that we're doing all right. And then the really nice thing about it is we launched, and the customer feedback was immediately positive, and we saw in the marketplace reporting an immediate increase in our conversion rates, and the horrible uninstall messages stopped with the things. It was, I need this. Well, they didn't stop entirely. They still wanted some of the other features, but you know, we did a lot better. And so what made this so tricky? So the infrastructure in order to support the jQL aliases and to scale and things is quite a lot of AWS. So we're using Lambdas, SNS, SQS, there's CloudWatch, there's EC2, there's Elastic load balancers, and so it must scale in there. The other thing that makes it tricky is that we need to make sure that permissions are right. So the ScriptRunner add-on user must be able to see all of the issues that it needs in order to set these properties, the aliases, in there. And some of the features of Jira are just kind of missing. So the issue links, there is no webhook for issue links. So please fix JRA 8505. So, are there any Jira devs in here? They're working on it. Well, please, please. And so what we need to be able to do is do this initial synchronization. So we read every single issue and we set the properties on it on every instance. So it's kind of important. So in case that wasn't clear before, just fix it, please.
So that's it. We launched. Now you're probably thinking that's the end of it. Well, the next part in our story is a look towards the future and what we have in store for cloud development. So the idea is to feed back into the server. We can try and experiment with things on the cloud. We can have feature flags. We can roll it out to customers quickly and easily and get immediate feedback on if customers are finding it useful. So we're going to take the jQL aliases to the server. We're also going to support more Atlassian products. As I said earlier, at Connect Week, we had a hack on HipChat and Confluence. We're now going to try and support Bitbucket and Trello to integrate all the Atlassian products together with ScriptRunner.
So we've talked quite a bit about some of the differences between cloud and server, but there are some number of things which are, you know, they're the same. Like Jira is essentially the same tool, particularly to end users. They have the same kind of use cases, and they want to use Jira to do the same sort of work. The other thing that's kind of the same is the marketplace. So most of the things you learn from the marketplace apply equally to server and cloud. And we had the kind of advantage that we had a listing there previously with a lot of good reviews. It's got a lot of reputation in that. We were able to use that to increase our cloud adoption.
Support's generally similar. You have similar questions and use cases. As John said to a customer, it's just the same Jira. Also, they have a lot of questions about how to use the product, how to use the API. This is common on server and the cloud. You also have the Atlassian community. People ask questions on there. The support comes through the same channels generally. A commonality also is the AUI and ADG libraries. The UI is the same libraries, the same metaphors, generally the same.
So in summary, there's a few things that with kind of key points that are worth emphasizing. So cloud is another world. It's completely different. You have to think about things in a completely different way. You have a huge amount of freedom in Connect to choose your own technology stack, to choose the things. But sometimes actually P2 is easier to get things done because many of these decisions have been made for you. So you do it the way Atlassian does it. There's not like a canonical Connect add-on that you can go and copy and like, I'm going to do it this way, because each use case is different and the way you're trying to do it is different. So you need to think about that. And in that, software as a service is a completely different ballgame. It's totally different to shipping a jar. It's a completely different business model, different way of thinking about things, different risks and things. So you need to really think very, very carefully and know what you're getting into if you go and launch a cloud add-on.
Support, again, is easier in the cloud. We have the customer data. We can see what they're doing. We have the logs. We can also ship faster. What we like to say is you can ship features, bugs, and bug fixes to everyone all at once. And that's not a typo. So remember, respect the privacy of others. Think before you type. With great power comes great responsibility.
So come join us in the cloud. Come bring your add-ons to the cloud. We'd love to talk to you after. Come and chat and talk things through. Here's some more battle stories and just come and talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you.